What up, world? Robert Jordan Hunt here, and welcome to RJH Likes Movies. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a guy who's been talking about movies online since the launch of AOL in the mid to late 1990s. However, I never took it too seriously until the pandemic when I started my website, rjhlikesmovies.com. From there, I started the podcast RJH and Friends Like Movies, where I talk to some local Austin creatives and some not so local Austin creatives about movies they like. The only kicker is they have to choose the movie and they have to like it in some way, shape, or form, whatever that means to them. And finally, I created the RJH and Friends social media, not only to boost the podcast, but just to boost the RJH brand in general. And now I'm making the jump to YouTube, something that I'm very excited about. For such a special occasion, I figured I'd start with something a little near and dear to my heart. This is actually a project I've been working on for a little while now. It first started off on my website, rjhlikesmovies.com, and then kind of transferred over to hyperrealfilm.club. Hyperreal Film Club is just, one, it's a website, but it's actually a venue in Austin, Texas. It's cinema for the people, y'all, okay? Check out the website, follow them on social media, and if you're here in Austin, check them out, okay? I'm talking about Bruno-Vision, a deep dive into the career of Bruce Willis by yours truly. Why Bruce Willis? I am so glad that you asked. Bruce Willis is my favorite actor. Always has been, always will be. I was 9 years old when I first saw Die Hard with a Vengeance, and I just immediately fell victim to Willis's everyman-like ability. For the first time, I was seeing an action hero who takes more of the beatings than he gives, constantly gets one up by the bad guys, and above all else, absolutely loves being at rock bottom. Y'all, my mind was melting. So, upon learning that this was actually the third in a trilogy, and yes, that means I saw With a Vengeance first, I inhaled the first two, right? And as I got older, I realized that the first Die Hard is like the unequivocal best. It's perfect. And Die Hard 2 is a 90s action must, but Vengeance just had my heart. And look, I've been a fan ever since, with all the ups and downs included. Now, as you may or may not have heard, Bruce actually retired a few years ago due to health issues, so now just kind of seemed like the right time. I'll be going through his entire theatrical career starting in 1987 with the movie Blind Date, all the way through 2012 with movies Looper and Moonrise Kingdom. Why am I stopping there? Well, if I'm being honest, the next 4 movies that followed those two very, very good films were all sequels that did not live up to their predecessors. It wasn't long after that the actor was forced into direct-to-video territory due to said health issues, so, in other words, I just don't want to end it on a bummer note. I'm also going to skip any cameos or TV work or voice acting, and I'm sorry to you Look Who's Talking heads out there, but I just want to focus on the leading and supporting roles from my favorite movie star, and really dig into the effects that those choices had on his career as a whole. I think people forget that amidst all the action movies Bruce made, he also made time to work with directors like Brian De Palma, Robert Benton, Terry Gilliam, Walter Hill, Rob Reiner, Quentin Tarantino, Robert Zemeckis, Richard Linklater, and Richard Donner. Even more impressive is the fact that, more often than not, Willis was down to be either like a co-lead or a straight supporting player, letting his co-stars like Denzel Washington, Annette Bening, Meryl Streep, Tom Hanks, Goldie Hawn, or Paul freaking Newman shine so he could do something different or unexpected. And that is the Bruno I want to talk about. So buckle up, because Bruno-Vision has only just begun. For this inaugural entry, I'm going to go ahead and combine his first and second major starring roles. 1, because they were both directed by the legendary Blake Edwards, and 2, they came out like a year apart, so there. For those who aren't aware, Edwards is one of the most esteemed comedy directors of all time. He did movies like the Pink Panther franchise with Peter Sellers, 10 with Dudley Moore, and a couple movies called S.O.B. and Victor Victoria with his wife, Julie Andrews. Yeah, Mary Poppins, y'all. Before we dig in too far, though, I do want to give you some context as to where Willis was in his career when these movies came out. After some TV guest spots on shows like Miami Vice in the early 80s, Bruce finally hit it big on TV with Moonlighting, co-starring Sybil Shepherd in 1985. The show was a romantic dramedy starring Bruce as a wisecracking private eye managing a detective agency with the former model played by Shepherd. The hour-long program quickly proved to be a hit thanks to the will they or won't they chemistry between the two leads. It makes sense then that his first role was in the romantic comedy Blind Date, co-starring Kim Basinger, John Larroquette, and Phil Hartman. I actually watched this movie a ton as a kid, mostly for my love of Bruce, and, I don't remember it being a laugh riot or anything, but I remember being entertained enough, mostly because there's a lot of slapstick going on. Unfortunately, time has not been kind to Blind Date. Not in some societal way or it's not canceled. It's just, honestly, it's a slog to get through. It's 96 minutes, but it feels so much longer, and the jokes are just half-baked throughout. But we're here to talk about my boy, my man, Bruce. So how does he fare here? Honestly, he does the best with what he's given. He's in full-blown slapstick mode, and that smirk is on display throughout. It's not a game-changing performance by any means, but he's flexing the comedy muscles hard, and that's just fun to see. Upon its release, Blind Date was not a critical darling. However, it did gross $39 million at the box office. That was a very respectable number at the time, especially for a low-budget romantic comedy. Now, the success of this movie, as well as the continued success of Moonlighting, only cemented Bruce's status as a comedic actor even further. So, naturally, he reteams with Edwards again on his next movie called Sunset. Look, I cannot lie. This movie is weird. So let's talk about it. It takes place in 1929 Hollywood, where an older Wyatt Earp, played by the great James Garner, is working as a technical advisor on a film about himself. Who plays Wyatt? Why, that would be Tom Nix, America's #1 box office cowboy, played by Bruce Willis. If that's not wild enough for you, the former lawman and Hollywood hotshot team up to solve a murder that eventually takes them into the deepest of Tinseltown's darkest circles. The beginning of this movie, straight out rocks. It's honestly kind of a tease, because, it's a movie within a movie, right? So it takes place on the set of one of Nix's upcoming westerns, and there's just old school cowboy stunts galore, and a rousing score by Henry Mancini. And, Edwards is an old school Hollywood director, so he nails this opening scene, and it rocks. The rest of the film, however, is a bit of a mixed bag. The tone goes back and forth between lighthearted comedy and overly serious murder mystery. The pace is not much better than Blind Date, and if I'm being honest, Bruce is just completely miscast as a Western leading man. Everything about him just screams 1980s, which is just not an ideal trait for someone trying to exist in the 20s. I'm sorry, Bruce. I love you. But, seeing as this is only his second major motion picture, you better believe that he is still giving it his all. And honestly, unlike Blind Date, he's not in full-blown comedy mode here. He kind of mostly just plays it straight, which was new at the time. It's also cool just to see him banter with Garner throughout. Even though he doesn't fit the time period at all, they still have an amiable, if, kind of awkward chemistry. And if anything, it's just really fun to see a baby Bruce try to keep up with the titan that Garner was. Overall, Sunset is a harmless tale of what if that features Bruce in a very awkward transition from comedy to something slightly more serious. Unfortunately, neither audiences nor critics cared, as it grossed only $4 million at the box office. Yikes, the film was a certified box office disaster. To recap, Bruce has one hit television show, one hit romantic comedy, and one bona fide box office flop. 2 to 3 ain't bad, y'all. Seriously. And I mean, the ongoing success of Moonlighting kind of negates the failure of Sunset a little bit, right? Now, even with all of this early success, there was no one on planet Earth who thought that a few short months later, this rising comedic actor would soon become one of the action genre's greatest stars. But that's for next time. Folks, if you like what you saw here, please like the video, subscribe, it helps. Listen to the podcast, RJH and Friends Like Movies. I got filmmakers like John Valley on there. He directed the Pizzagate Massacre, as well as Josh Rubin, who most recently directed Hard Eyes, which you can see on Netflix now. Follow me on social media, RJH and Friends, and above all else, y'all, keep watching movies, okay? Mwah. Bye.